How did one of the most dominant fitness brands on the planet, billions in revenue, a community full of athletes and loyal fan bases, do it without creating a new product, without changing the gym industry, or spending countless years just trying to figure out what their customer wanted? This brand did it seamlessly by taking something that already exists and repositioning it in a way that nobody ever thought of. And that one decision changed the landscape for them and everybody else in that industry. Most brands will never do what Gymshark did, not because it's complicated, but because they're too busy looking at their competitors to find who their customer is. They're too busy treating their business as a commodity, having the same messages, the same product positioning, marketing their products the same way, and wondering why their marketing never sticks, wondering why customers churn out after one sale and go run to the competitors as soon as the competitors are having a sale. And no matter what they create, nothing seems to stick. Because when your positioning looks like everybody else, you give your customers no reason to specifically choose you. Instead, they have other options to go choose your competitors. And a brand without a specific reason to be chosen is literally just a commodity waiting to be replaced. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how Gymshark did it, how they became one of the most dominant fitness brands in this industry. I'm going to reveal a 5-layer positioning framework and unraveling every hidden decision behind everything that they do. From how they identified a gap in the market to how their customers are so loyal, they wear their products like it's an identity and not just a product. And by the end of this video, you're going to see your brand's positioning completely different, and more importantly, how to fix it. Now let's get into it. Now, for those who don't know, before Gymshark was a billion-dollar brand, it started with a 19-year-old boy working at Pizza Hut delivering pizzas. The only thing he had was an idea and a dream. And by this time, he was already working on his 8th business. See, Ben Francis, the founder, wasn't a fashion designer. He wasn't just a fitness insider. He was just someone who wanted to find clothes to wear in the gym and work out in, but also produce a lifestyle behind it. He noticed a gap that the clothes that were readily available in the US was not available in the UK. He saw an opportunity where others ignored it. So he did what most people actually think about, but they never actually do it. He went home and started to make these clothes himself. He went home to actually start to develop this product because he's seen a gap in the market using his mother's sewing machine. Small beginnings. And in his garage, with no guarantee that anybody else would care what he was working on. And the thing about it, what you miss about this moment is that Ben wasn't just trying to disrupt the fitness industry. He wasn't sitting in a boardroom trying to identify market gaps, building 5-year plans. He was simply just solving his own problem. He was solving a problem that he was going through and that many others were going through, but were likely silently suffering about this problem. And in solving his own problem, he stumbled into something that millions of people in the UK, again, silently experienced, but nobody had a thought to go ahead and fix it. So you see, gym apparel that existed was just functional. It had no identity. It was boring. It had no lifestyle. It was the cutoff shirts. It was short shorts. It was maybe a zip up jacket every now and then, but it was something you wore to the gym and you did not wear it anywhere else. And Ben recognized that gap, not just from research, but because he lived the experience. And that recognition became the foundation of one of the most powerful brand positions in the world. Now, like I said, by this time, he's working on his 8th business, working part-time at Pizza Hut, and building in his garage. Ben Francis had created something that would eventually generate billions in revenue and build a community that wears his brand like a second identity. And that's not because he invented something new. He took something that already existed, lifestyle clothing, and brought it into an industry that had never even thought of or seen it before. Because back then, people probably thought that was tacky. Like, why do you have on a full-size hoodie or a sweatsuit that you will wear out and you have that on in the gym? And especially in the UK, because they were behind at that moment. Ben Francis did not change the industry. He just innovated the positioning. And that single distinction is the difference between a brand that competes and a brand that dominates. And as we see today, Ben Francis created a brand that dominates. And that positioning did not happen on accident. It happened by a sequence of steps and specific decisions that I've broken down into 5 layers that every brand can apply starting today. Now, let me show you how Gymshark did it layer by layer by showing you the claim framework. So you can go out today and change the way your brand is positioned in the marketplace. Now, we on the whiteboard. We ain't been on the whiteboard in a minute, but I'm going to give you all 5 layers right now so you won't be guessing. So the claim framework is broken up into 5 pieces: cause, loop, authority, identity, and map. And we're going to walk through each one of these. Now, the cause. Now, the brands that dominate in their space are not just solving an obvious problem, right? They're solving the silent problem, the problem that your customer has accepted as normal. The frustration was so familiar, they just stopped looking for a solution. They stopped looking for anybody to go out and fix this problem that they're going for. And this is where Gymshark capitalized. See, before Gymshark, the gym apparel industry was just functional. It was just completely boring. Like I said, it was just cut off shirts. It was no feeling. It was no emotion behind what they were wearing to the gym, what people were wearing to the gym. And sleeveless tanks, basketball shorts, clothes that said, I just came to work out and that's it. Like, think about people who played sports. Like, anybody who played sports, you know what I'm about to say. I didn't care what I wore when I went to the weight room. I was gonna put on basketball shorts. I was gonna put on a t-shirt. I didn't care. And Gymshark saw that the industry was lacking, especially in the UK, the fact that emotion came from what you were wearing. And their industry was built around bodybuilders and performance athletes, people who only cared about what their body could do, not what the clothes communicated about themselves. Think about it now. When you get up in the morning, you're gonna put on some clothes. If I'm feeling pretty chill, moody, I'm gonna put on a sweatsuit. If I'm feeling just calm, I'm not gonna put on no bright colors, because now people know the clothes that you wear communicate a certain thing about you. But there were people going to the gym who wanted more than just function, who just wanted more than just clothes to wear to the gym and not communicate nothing about themselves, who wanted to actually care about what they wore to the gym, to actually pick out their gym outfit before they went to the gym. They wanted clothes to fit the life they were living outside of the gym too. And most people didn't just know that yet, but deep down inside they really did. Gymshark took a lifestyle category that already existed and brought it into the gym. He did not invent a new product. They solved a problem that was so normalized that nobody bothered to even name it, and better yet, go out and solve and create a solution about it. But how does this affect your brand? See, you may not have personally experienced the problem your brand is solving, but you have a duty to get in the mud with your customer, to talk to them, to study their behavior, to list out every frustration that they've normalized and stop expecting anyone to fix. Then go one layer deeper. What is the root cause behind the customer's frustration? See, you have a duty to get in the mud with them. So either do this by direct customer complaints. Even use AI to prompt it and understand what is the underlying thing that my customers are communicating that nobody is out fixing. Even use your own experience. Do these things to help you understand what your customer has accepted as normal, that your brand has the power to change. The most valuable thing you can do for your business is the ability to obsess over the problem you're solving. This is where markets are built, and this is where brands become movements, because they have obsessed over a problem so much, they create a solution behind that. And it's not just a surface-based solution, it's the solution that's under there. Now, Gymshark found the cause, but finding the problem wasn't enough, because your customer has been living in that problem so long, it became a pattern, a loop that they could not break. And understand that the loop is what told Gymshark how to exactly position themselves. And this is what we're about to go over next. The L for loop. Now, finding the pattern is step one, but your customer has been living in that problem so much, it's become a lifestyle. It's become a cycle. They do it and they don't even think about it. That cycle is your positioning opportunity. See, the loop is a repeating pattern that your customers are stuck in. They keep going over it, and they accept it as normal. Every purchase your customer makes is an attempt to break a cycle that they keep returning to. Think about it. You go to buy clothes because maybe the past jacket or sweatsuit you got holes in it. You're tired of low quality clothes, so you're going to go out and buy something that's more high quality. You're tired of going through the loop of having poor clothes and then having to repeatedly go and buy clothes, especially for those who may shop on Shein. You're tired of that, so I'm gonna look for more high quality clothes. Your brain needs to name that cycle before your customer does, so a light bulb clicks. They will think, "Oh, that's me," and the brand that creates that moment owns that customer's attention before any competitor gets close. As far as with the Gymshark, in the UK, gym goers were caught in the same loop every time. They worked out in the same cut-off shirts, basketball shorts, and they had zero thought behind what they were wearing when they was going to the gym. Now, I don't believe it's because they didn't care how they look, because nothing existed gave them the permission to care about what they put on when they was going to the gym. But Brent Francis recognized that loop. The same uninspired outfit, the same outfit you wear every day. You see the same person going to the gym, same thing on, no thought behind it, and it's not resembling the lifestyle that they live outside of the gym. So Gymshark recognized, Ben Francis recognized, the US had something the UK did not. And that moment, the loop was broken. Gymshark did not just sell clothes. They became a brand that finally understood what their customer had been silently experiencing every single time they walked behind those gym doors, every time they went into the gym. Now, what this means for your brand, go deeper than just the problem your product is solving. Ask what cycles keep bringing your customers back to that problem. Map that repeating behavior, then expose it directly through your content and your positioning. When your customer sees their own loop reflected back at them, that light bulb clicks in their head like, "Oh, wait, he's talking about me. This brand is talking about me." This is how you get loyal customers, because they feel seen, they feel heard. That recognition is what separates a brand they consider from a brand that they commit to. It'll be a no-brainer for them to go out and every single time this problem comes up, "Oh, I know I need to think about your brand." So whether you're in cosmetics, whether you're in apparel, whether you're in fitness or supplements, your customer needs to think about you every single time this problem comes up. The brand that names the cycle wins the customer before the competitor even gets introduced. Now, Gymshark named that loop, but naming the problem and the pattern still is not enough. And this is where we come with the A. This is where we'll go over the authority. Naming the problem and exposing the loop creates awareness, but this still is not enough for your customer to come repeatedly back to your brand. This is where you want to build authority, because this is where trust is being built. An authority shift is when your brand becomes the standard that your customers measure everything up against it. Your customers will not see you as the best because you claim to be an expert or you claim to be number one, but because you replaced an old belief with a new one and made that replacement feel inevitable. Like this, like, "Oh, I have to choose this every single time." For Gymshark, nobody thought about what they were going to wear when they was going to the gym. You threw on whatever was comfortable and you went about your life. You went on about, yeah, I'm just going to the gym. I'm not thinking about nothing else but going to the gym. And Gymshark changed that belief entirely. They created a culture where your gym fit matters, where what you wear to the gym is a message of who you are, not just what you are doing. Their content did not sell products. It showed the lifestyle behind the person who takes the gym seriously. And that person who takes the gym seriously changes how people perceive them. It changes how people see them. It's how they carry themselves. It's what the lifestyle actually looks like. That's what their content showed. And by consistently portraying that standard, Gymshark shifted that authority to themselves in the fitness industry and got above every other fitness apparel that was in that industry, in the gym industry, because they shifted that belief. They shifted the belief that no longer are you just going to go to the gym and not care about what you have on. You're going to go to the gym, care about what you put on because it affects your lifestyle, the person you want to be, how you're perceived. They changed that belief. Now for your brand, you only have to answer one question. What existing belief in your space are you going to replace with a new standard? Not a better version of what exists. You need a complete replacement. See, Gymshark didn't make clothes just slightly more stylish, right? They replaced the belief. that gym clothes don't need to be stylish at all. Find the belief that your brand is positioned to retire and build your content around it because your messaging, your product positioning, it's all going to revolve around that one belief that you are shifting. When it goes out to find people who you want to put in your brand, influencers, it's going to shift all around that one belief of what are you changing in your industry. You don't build authority by claiming expertise. You build it by setting a new standard, and you keep that standard and you repeat that standard. That is how people become familiar with your brand. That is how people become familiar about the message you're pushing out, because a belief that you have created from your product. And now your content and your marketing reflects that. Now this next layer is where Gymshark got a little nutty. That's when they got a little, okay, let me really figure out who I want in my brand. And this comes with the I. Identity. This stands for identity shift. Setting the standard attracts the attention, but not all attention is valuable. The brand that tries to speak to everyone ends up converting no one. They end up converting absolutely nobody to their brand. The identity standard is the line your brand draws between who belongs in your clothes, who belongs in your products, who belongs to take your supplements, between the person who does not. Not to be exclusive for the sake of it, but because when a customer sees themselves in your brand, they buy it with conviction instead of hesitation. There are plenty of products you have bought right now that you bought based off conviction and not just a hesitation. Should I buy this? No. You had a conviction to buy it because you felt like that brand was speaking directly to you, who you were becoming. When your brand reinforces who your customer is becoming, before and after purchase, you stop selling a product. Your product begins to sell itself. Your marketing begins to sell that product. And you start selling that transformation that your customers want on repeat. It's no longer, I'm selling because I have the best product. No, I'm selling because the transformation that you're going to get from acquiring my product is inevitable. It's the best that you could get. And I'm going to show that because I know this is what you want. But this is all because you understand the identity. What identity shift are you going to make? Are you going to make in your customers? Gymshark's entire brand filters in real time. Their content, their athletes, their tagline, everything signals exactly who they want to purchase from their brand. They don't want the person that doesn't care about their physique. They don't want the person that's lazy. They don't want the person that's slothful. They want the person that really cares about what their gym fit says about them. They want the person that really cares about their health. They want the person that's going to come in, give full effort, that actually is going to go to the gym and put in the work. This is because they weed out the person who does not belong in their clothing before they even get to the checkout. And that's intentional. Their tagline on their Instagram says it all. We do gym. Therefore, if you do not do gym, this is not for you. That tagline does not describe a product. It describes the person. And anyone who does not identify with that person immediately knows this brand is not for them. Therefore, it creates a community of buyers who feel like Gymshark was built specifically for them. That feeling of belonging is worth more than any discount promotion that your brand or any of your competitors could ever do, because it's a sense of community, a sense of feeling, a sense of belonging. And that's what we yearn for as humans. We want a sense of belonging. Now for your brand, define the community for your brand. Who is the person your brand represents? Who doesn't it belong to? Not just in a demographic sense, but in identity sense. Who is your customer becoming? By choosing your brand, and who would never choose it because it does not reflect who they are. Then what you need to do is reinforce that identity in every piece of content, every product description, every time they check out, even before they buy your product. Reinforce the identity of who that person is going to become, because therefore they are going to buy and they're never going to leave. The brand that tries to speak to everyone speaks to no one. So you need to draw that line. The right customer will cross it every time if they know it's for them. Gymshark knew their cause, exposed the loop, shifted the authority, and defined who really to belong to their brand. But none of that would have mattered without this one final layer. They needed to show the path the customer needs to pursue before choosing anything else. And that's the M, map. You've done the work. Now you need to show them where to go. The map is how your brand becomes the obvious next steps for your customer's journey. This is not done through aggressive selling. This is done through directional clarity. Because the moment your brand becomes the destination that your customer desires, they no longer purchase feeling like they have to or hesitating. They start purchasing and feel like they're making progress to becoming somebody in a sense of belonging. See, the proof of that is that Gymshark didn't leave their customers guessing. For every piece of content, every athletic partnership, every creator that they produce pointed in one direction. And this is the life that you want, and this is how you're going to get there, and that is through us and by putting on our clothing. They planted influencers in their clothes. They represent every ethnicity, every demographic, and every culture of the version of their desired customer. Not celebrities living unattainable lives, but real athletes living the exact life they want their desired customer to live. The message was simple and undeniable. If you want the physique, if you want the discipline, if you want the lifestyle, Gymshark, we are your choice. Come to us and you're going to get that once you buy our clothes. The map was so clear that choosing a competitor felt like the longer route to get to the same destination. But since they knew who they were targeting and they knew the identity that they wanted their customers to be in and the authority they were trying to position themselves in, it became a no-brainer. You need to define the destination your customer is going to. Not just the product, but the life they are stepping into and thereafter. Once that destination is clear, every piece of content you create becomes a post, becomes a signal that they are walking in the right direction. Your influencer partnerships, your creatives, your captions, all of it should answer one question for your customer. Is this brand taking me to become the person that I really want to become? And you need to make that answer a undeniable yes. Gymshark didn't just win because they had the best product. Every competitor in their space had functional apparel. They won because they found one small gap in a massive industry and positioned themselves in it so precisely it became a no-brainer. Because in their category, they became the standard. One iteration, one positioning decision made by a 19-year-old boy who was working at Pizza Hut. And that single decision is responsible for Gymshark generating millions of dollars with loyal customers who wants to buy their brand every time they get a chance. And that is the power of positioning done right. You don't need a revolutionary product. You don't need a new idea. You just need a revolutionary perspective on the problem your customer has been living with. Find the cause, expose the loop, shift the authority, set the identity standard, show them the map. Do these 5 things with clarity and conviction, and your brand will stop competing for attention. It will start commanding it. Now, if you made it this far, I want you to drop a shark down below in the comments to let me know you're serious about changing the positioning of your brand. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Keep stacking, and I'll see you next time.